Hello everybody, it's Merlin here, and today I am going to bring you my review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Before I go into that, I just want to say it's been a while since I've done a video on this channel. I think I may have recently uploaded another one by the time I get this up, but quick reason for that, I will be getting more videos out, I think, by the end of next week. It's just that with my new job, it just kind of was at a different schedule, so I didn't have as much time, especially with other things going on, to get as many videos out to you guys as, typically as I'd like to. Just to let you know that there will be other videos coming out. Thank you for supporting me, and definitely will be getting some more videos out in the near future. But moving to The Amazing Spider-Man 2, well, I guess I'll just go over the plot real quickly. Basically, it follows Peter Parker, and he's still kind of getting over Captain Stacy's death. He's basically haunted by the fact that he feels that he can't get close to Gwen Stacy. And he's also, at the same time, trying to dig into his father's past and find out what happened to his parents and the secrets they were working on for Oscorp. Also, Harry Osborn comes back into the picture, even though it's not really established that they know each other. We quickly learn that they apparently were childhood friends, and so they reestablish that friendship. Harry Osborn's father dies, and he also learns after his father dies that even though he inherits the corporation, he has the same disease that will eventually kill his father, though it seems to be killing him much sooner. So this basically kind of gives Harry Osborn this desire to go after Spider-Man and achieve his blood because of the Spider-Man regenerative properties. That of course creates more conflict with Peter Parker and their friendship, and it creates a lot of drama there. And there's also Max Dillon, who's also known as Electro. He's saved by Spider-Man, and he develops this kind of obsession with him. And in an accident, he becomes Electro, kind of goes insane and starts attacking everyone. And he later teams up with Harry Osborn, who becomes the Green Goblin, and they both mutually go after Peter Parker because he's kind of the symbol of everything that they hate now, and they both feel that on some level betrayed them. In terms of the characters, Peter Parker is angsty at times, as Spider-Man is, but he's also pretty fun. He shows his investigative side when he's tracking down some of the secrets of his father's past, as well as his ability to stick up for the little guy is kind of awesome. And he seems to have a lot of compassion, even for the villains, which I think is one of the best attributes of Spider-Man. The romance is a really big element of this film. Gwen Stacy seems to be having issues with Peter's inability to connect with him at times, and despite trying to stay away, she loves him and cares about him. In regards to Harry Osborn, I think that character was really well done by Dane DeHaan. He was actually less whiny than Harry Osborn typically is, and we seem to have some honest-to-God real motivation for him to hate Spider-Man without his dad's involvement. I mean, it seems to always be in the comics, oh, he killed my dad, or oh, my dad, there's this inferiority complex, and I feel I have to kill Spider-Man to basically live up to my dad's expectations. Like, Harry Osborn's always been a little insane. This one, he was desperate, and I'm not going to say that he was necessarily a good guy, but you could honestly kind of understand his motivations, and he uses the serum, and it kind of drives him a little insane and sort of turns him into the Goblin. In terms of Max Dillon, aka Electro, it starts out to be this kind of bumbling loner, as to some degree Max Dillon's been portrayed as before. Never really quite that much of a loner, but he does get the kind of general loser concept that they usually go with in the comics. And apparently he seems to have some serious emotional issues, but he really becomes really intimidating once he becomes Electro. He really honestly becomes quite frightening. Both for Green Goblin and for Electro, I think they're honestly great interpretations of these villains. And interestingly enough, Aunt May isn't completely hopeless as she's usually portrayed. She's actually a nurse, so she's trying to provide for the family, and she's not completely helpless like she's been portrayed a lot of times classically. In terms of the effects, I mean, the fight scenes were awesome. I love Spidey's costume. I know some people really didn't like the new design, but I think it's more in line with the traditional costume, and I thought it looked great, actually. I didn't really notice anything about it that I disliked. I thought it looked very nice. I think the Green Goblin's design was cool. It was kind of a combination of a lot of things in these new movies. They're kind of combining the main plot is basically closer to Ultimate Spider-Man because it's a lot more confined and everything's a lot more connected, so it's easier to handle. But some of their interpretations of some characters and situations are more like the original universe, and Green Goblin is a bit of a combination of both because even though he does get onto the glider and he does get kind of this armor, which is more in line with the original Goblin look, and he also, when he ejects the serum into himself, it does sort of change his features a little bit, giving him this greenish tint to his skin and kind of these sharpened teeth, and he kind of points his nose a little bit, looking more like the traditional Goblin, and his hair spikes up, and he kind of has like these earphone things that look like goblin ears, so it looks kind of like more tech savvy, but aligned with the original look. But the actual physical transformation seems a little more aligned with the Ultimate Spider-Man look, where the Green Goblin basically becomes this monstrous creature. Electro, on the other hand, the character is very similar to his original basic concept, and his basic motivation and character is basically the same as the original universe, but they make him a lot more psychotic and obsessed with Spider-Man, which makes him a lot more creepy and intimidating, which is more in line with the Ultimate Universe, and his design and power are much more in line with the Ultimate Universe as well. Rhino is in this film as well. He looks like he has a more robotic look that's similar to the Ultimate Universe. He has machine guns, missiles. He's only in for a little bit, though. He's kind of a silly villain. He looks silly, but to be fair, the Rhino's always been silly. No matter how you look at him, he's just kind of a sort of a temporary throwaway villain, but he's in there briefly as well. He was alright. One great part of this movie, I think, was the soundtrack. It's just a great mixture of a lot of varieties of music, and it goes anywhere from indie rock to hardcore electronic music. Elektra's theme in particular, it really has this build-up to how terrifying he is, and seems to be interwoven with his inner thoughts and even his actions. Like, when he's shooting electricity at these big beams, it's kind of making different notes that sound similar to the track. So it was really cool how they interwove that. And you could tell Mark Webb, who originally primarily did music videos, he's really good at picking sounds to go with certain scenes to kind of add to the atmosphere and add to the action. He's very good at that. Definitely one of the great strengths of this movie was the soundtrack. It was really good. Getting into the main strengths of the movie, I really think that it's trying to emulate the comics with a lot of grand plot, which is really good. I do like that. It sort of emulates that with having certain comic book elements, but being relatively serious as well. A great strength, though, is also, as kind of in the first film, the chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone is truly great. And Andrew Garfield is a really great Spider-Man, just in the way he's written and the way he plays the character. You can tell he's having a lot of fun, and he's written as a character that has a lot of fun, which is the way Spider-Man should be. He has fun in being the hero, but seems to really care about people. And yes, he does get angsty at times, but I'd say mostly when it's appropriate, and not for overly long, which is good. He's a relatable, likable character I think people can get behind. Probably even more so in this film than the last one, in which he seems to have grown up a little bit. The villains were cast very well. Dane DeHaan is great. He's probably the best version of the Green Goblin, at least the Harry Osborn Green Goblin that I've ever seen. And the character's motivations are pretty clear. Even though it's established in a brief period of time, I actually felt we kind of knew what these characters wanted, why they wanted it, and that was fine. There didn't need to be too much time establishing that. The action is good, but the characters keep you interested with a good combination of humor and drama, even when there is no action, which is actually for pretty big segments of the movie. I'd say the movie is actually more actual other plot elements beside just big superhero action, which is kind of impressive. Overall, the strengths are that it's fun like a comic book, but it's serious enough when it's needed. Now for weaknesses, the plot is really trying to do so much that there seems to be a lack of focus at points. His parents' past, the Osborn storyline, Electro, the romance, Aunt May. So it does feel like we don't spend too much time on some of these plots. And I also really wish that we could have explored the villains a little bit more. I mean, though, as I said before, they are established pretty well in a brief period of time, I still felt like we could have gotten to know them a little better. They're fine, but I wanted to give them a little more time. And that's really the biggest problem I had. But the main story of Peter's past and Oscorp's plan do hold things together well enough. It's really just a build to the Sinister Six, which I feel is one reason why it seems a bit rushed and incomplete at times, because it's part of something much bigger. Also, I'm not sure if this is exactly a flaw, but there is a big event that most people who know anything about Spider-Man would see coming. It had emotional impact, I thought, by the way it was portrayed, definitely. It was a well-done couple scenes. But for me, it didn't have as much emotional weight because I just knew it was going to happen pretty much the whole movie. Also, the Rhino is barely in the movie, and I mean, he's not really that great anyway. Paul Giamatti, I mean, he seemed like he was having fun playing this over-the-top villain, but he's barely in there, so I hope that he's in the Sinister Six later because we really didn't get to see much of him, so the Rhino is basically just a tease. The way the trailers were put together, it makes you seem like there's a lot going on in the movie, which there is, but they make the Rhino seem like he's one of the bigger parts, and he's really literally, like, barely in the movie. And also the end credit scene is a complete, like, WTF troll moment. Like, I honestly think it was either a joke or it's something really big on the horizon, but I was very confused, and we were talking about it. Like, I mean, is it just... I don't want to give it away, but at the same time, I just feel like... I don't know how to feel. I was either angry about it or... I was just like, maybe there's something awesome going to happen, because it's not really related to the movie at all. It's like it's related to another film series, but I know there's no way the series could combine because it's a different company. So I was like, what? And that was just a really annoying thing about the movie. But overall, I did enjoy The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm not entirely sure I enjoyed it more than the original movie. Uh, I feel like it definitely upped the stakes. I think that Andrew Garfield's really found his weight into this character. I think they've found the best way to write the character. He's perfectly balanced. This is a great Spider-Man. Gwen Stacy was great. The villains were good. I thought it was a great supervillain team up, definitely. And definitely, I think there is a precursor to a lot that's going on. I do feel like it was a little bloated at points. They definitely could have explored some more things, but I feel like there's definitely more they could reveal in time. They have a couple more movies planned to do, so it's not like that other information we didn't get to see in this movie we won't get to see later. Overall, I think it was well done. Yes, a little less focused than the first movie, but I think for the most part, it definitely was just as good, maybe a little better at some points. And I'm probably going to leave my final grade with it being a B+. I thought it was very well done. I did enjoy it. So, yeah, guys, that was my basic review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Please let me know what you guys thought about it. I encourage you to go see it if you haven't already. It was well done. If you're a Spider-Man fan, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And, yeah, the only thing I could say is that watch out for that end credit sequence, because it'll just be like, what? Alright, guys, well, definitely we'll have some more videos coming out to you within the next week or so. Please check out Film Fanatics podcast. I try to do that once a week with them. And I know I haven't done a video with them in a while, but please check out my collab group at the PhantomGroup, for awesome anime discussions and things like that. Alright, guys, until next time, Merlin out. Peace.